Howdy all, this is Shane and I'm with my friend
Alex.
He's from Alex Old School on YouTube. We're going to have a bit of a talk about some different guitars that we both have, and we're going to compare them to some of the US Gibsons, as well as, you know, the Chinese Tokai and the Japanese Greco guitar as well. We've got a few of them lined up here, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of Japanese guitars.
Me too.
I've got a couple of Tokais now. My ES335 is one of the best guitars I've ever owned, and I have owned a Gibson counterpart. I guess, how do you feel about some of these, like the Greco, for example, in comparison to
Well, I've got a
Gibbos?
beautiful American Standard, Gibbo American Standard 1996, and it's absolutely magnificent. But, you know, I have a few Japanese copies, Les Paul copies, and one of them being a Greco, and I can tell you, Shane, they do stand up pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I mean, the Standard has a warmth that is almost very hard to beat,
Yeah,
I've got to admit, but for value for money and the way it's made, the Japanese copies are the best I've ever come across to anything that could replicate a Standard.
yeah. No, I agree. I've got a Gibson Les Paul custom shop guitar, which is worth a lot. You know, basically twice the amount you would pay for a Japanese Tokai.
Yeah.
I've seen the equivalent of the custom shop Les Paul side by side. Linden's got one, and they're almost like, you know, I'd be surprised if people could tell the difference almost blindfolded. And value for money, they're definitely. I think the trade-off or the difference in tone might not justify the price difference. That's
That's what I found too.
yeah.
And, you know, Japanese made, I tend to find that they take pride in what they're doing. You know, they're very meticulous about how they put something together.
Yeah.
If they're going to make something, they make it right. you know?
Yeah, they've always been that
Yeah.
way with products, especially
Yeah.
electronics and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and it's I can't fault them. I've got, like I said, I've got a few, and I've even got a 50s tribute here, which has got the burst buckers in it.
Mhm.
And you know, even though that's the cheaper line Gibbo, I would say this is every part of that, and just about the Standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Somewhere
wow.
in between.
Cool.
So to me, that's a fantastic comparison. That's a fantastic lineup of terms of copying something.
Yeah, beautiful.
Because it's not just a thrown together guitar. They've actually thought about the tone and the feel of the guitar.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about them.
The big difference also, I think, with Japanese guitars compared to this is a Chinese Tokai guitar, which this is my favorite guitar right now. I'm loving playing it. The stock hardware on this wasn't great. I had to change the Tune-o-matic bridge because I was getting this really bad buzz through everything. Like you'd play a note, you could hear it. It was buzzing really badly. So that's the only thing I had to swap. But another fault could be sometimes on these Chinese ones, the switches might not be as good. But I found with the Tokai stuff, the switches are not bad, you know. But yeah, the Japanese stuff is definitely that level above
It is.
in terms of hardware as well.
It is. Yeah, they don't skimp on their hardware.
Yeah.
And I like that. I really like that.
I think tone-wise, this would hold its own with a lot of more expensive guitars. But yeah, the only trade-off really would be some of the hardware on this. But in terms of playability and tone and all that kind of stuff, it sounds great. So
Yeah, well, this is a 1984 model.
yep.
So it's what now,
2016. Yeah.
26 years old. So that's still in marvellous shape, you know? It really is. I mean, it's got a few dings here and there.
Yeah.
But other than that, the playability of this guitar is, you know, how I assess my guitars is are they stage worthy?
Yeah.
And if they're stage worthy, they've been made really well. They've got a great tone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't play a guitar on stage if I didn't think so.
No, I'm the same. I'm pretty fussy with what I would use live if it wasn't up to standard. So yeah, this is nice. All right, so we're gonna play some bits now and show you how each of them sound as we go. So you can judge for yourself whether or not you like the tone.
So, you know, I'll just take you through the front, middle and back pickup. This
Yep.
is Really nice to play. And if I put it in the middle position,
Yeah, it's still got nice clarity on the tops as
Yeah.
well, which is good.
and the bridge. And the bridge is just super hot when you put it into dirt. So, you want me to put that on dirt?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'll leave it on the bridge pickup.
Yeah,
So it's
cool,
got plenty of sustain,
yeah.
and
Yeah, cool.
and if I put it, say, the front pickup, middle position, it's not a bad little mix of the two pickups. But my favourite will always be the back pickup, of course. It's made for it.
Just looking at it from the side here too, the action looks great. It
Oh, it
feels
is.
pretty good to play.
It feels fantastic to play. It's
Yeah.
just nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
It doesn't. It just feels. It's a fast fretboard.
Yeah,
You can
sweet.
get your fingers under that, and it's nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's and compare that to, I don't know. So the Tribute. And this is. I'll leave it on dirt for the moment, just to say, because that's fresh in your mind at the moment.
Yeah.
So compared to the Greco, this is. I don't hear too much difference.
No, there's not. I mean, that's obviously, this one's obviously just as much of a Les Paul sound as that. Just there's probably slight differences in it, but not enough to.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a little bit, maybe a little bit more bottom in this one.
Yeah.
But not to the point where you really have to listen to it, And then if I put that in the front pickup, there's a little bit more bottom in it.
Yeah.
But other than that, this has got the burst buckers in it, and that's got what they call screamers or scream 22s or something.
Okay, so in terms of playability, is there much of a difference between, say, this one and that one?
Well, this has got the neck's a little bit wider and fatter than that, but no, I can fly through the fretboard on either one, not a problem at all.
Okay,
But
cool.
in fact, I love the Gibbo here, the Tribute, but when I'm on stage, that really does it for me. It just feels absolutely right.
It looks cool too. I like the sort of aged colour around the binding and yeah, very nice. So you don't have to go into specifics about the pricing, but like, what would you expect to pay for, say, like a Japanese style Les Paul? What would be the rough price difference? We're in Australia, by the way, not in the US, so everything here is more expensive.
Well, it depends on what the hardware it's got on it, but basically the hardware this has got on it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll say anything up to maybe $1,000.
Yeah, okay,
900
cool.
to $1,000.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that's what the Tribute's worth, probably around about the 1,000, maybe 1,100 mark.
Yep.
And when you compare the two, there's really not a lot of difference. The only difference is the label, Gibson and Greco.
Yeah, that's it.
Other than that, dollar for dollar, they do match each other pretty well.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how I felt about owning a Gibson 335 and a Tokai 335. I must have bought the year of the 335 making guitars that were just terrible to play. Like, it was muddy and dark sounding and really not how a 335 should sound. And when I finally gave the Tokai one a shot, I was like, wow, this is great. And it was like literally half the price. I think I paid like $1,500 for mine. It was technically second hand, but it had never been played. So $1,500 for the Tokai 335, and the Gibson cost me $38.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was, for me, like, they were basically physically identical. Just they had the PAF style or the clearer type of humbucker sound on the Tokais, which they were referencing the older style guitars, which is a lot why I think this has maybe a bright sound compared to some other Gibson guitars, because some of the Gibson guitars go for that more modern humbucker, which is a bit fatter and thicker sounding, and some people love that.
Yep.
But yeah, man, you got this. This is something else. So I think value for money. If you want a guitar that will do the job, how can you go wrong with something like this? You know.
Yeah, absolutely, and that comes into what they call the mint range. In that was between, I think, 82 and 92, I think it was, and this is an 84. So it's certainly got all the nice bells and whistles on it.
Yeah.
And it does the job. You've heard it, Shane, on stage.
Oh
and
yeah,
it just rocks,
absolutely. And I think these are still good value for money too.
They are.
I mean, in
They
terms
really
of
are.
what you pay in Australia for, a Les Paul standard, these are definitely great value for money. I think the major differences between these and that would be the binding.
Well, I'll pick up the American.
Yeah, cool.
Well, this is American also, the gold top, but it's the tribute. And this is the American. So this is a 1996.
Is it me or is that a bit heavier?
It's a bit heavier, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the mahogany body is, it's got a little bit of weight in it,
Yeah.
But it's still not overweighty, if you know what I mean. So the difference, if whilst it's fresh in your mind, so let's put it on the dirt again.
Sounds pretty great.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is probably retailing in Australia for what, 25 to 27.50, somewhere around that price mark. Whereas the Greco, like I said, 1,000. The Tribute around about 1,000.
Yeah.
So it's a third of the price almost.
Yeah.
But yes, I do have to admit, there's nothing like the warm, tasty tone of an American. It is it feels extremely good on the fingers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
It just has it. But I think it has a lot to do with, well, as you noticed straight away, the weight of the wood, the timber itself, just that little bit more weight than the others. But
sorry to cut you off. I think it may have a better bridge here as well. The Tune-o-matic bridge looks a bit thicker or bigger or something compared to some of these ones. See, that's more like what I replaced on this.
Yeah.
See how it's quite wide?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, actually, you know what I'd love to hear, Shane? I'd love to hear the dirt on your top.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm gonna borrow your pick though, if that's all right.
That's all right. There's my pick.
You're gonna hear me play some heavy riffs now, man.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't even know if this is in tune, so yeah, it sounds alright. Cool.
So, ready to go? Here you go.
Sustains pretty well.
It does.
And I think that's part and parcel of changing the bridge over a little bit as well.
Yeah. And while that's fresh in your minds, let me play the American again, and just to make the comparison.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm giving you the guitar.
So
it's not going to work.
Whilst that tone is fresh in your mind. So the Tokai is pretty close, isn't it?
It is. I was going to say very similar in tone.
The great thing about the American standards is sustainability. Just amazing.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I'm loving playing mine so much at the moment, because I can hold notes, even clean, a hell of a lot longer than I'd be able to do on not all of my guitars, but most of my guitars. That's one thing I'm loving about the whole Les Paul thing at the moment.
I'm just going to put the Greco back on for a second, because I just want to see, in terms of that sustain. This is fun, guys. I love doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just try this sustain on this. I find that probably just a little bit, not as much as the standard, but that's understandable. Yeah, but if you really want to launch into it, so, you know, it hasn't, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't have the price tag, but if you think of the difference between an American and the Greco-Japanese, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It separates them.
Yeah.
But it is a very close sound to getting what you would get in a standard.
Yeah.
Not quite the same. Maybe 90% of it or something, or 85 to 90% of it. But that's not bad.
Yeah. And I don't know if we pointed this out before. How old is this one?
This one's an 1984.
So if you're looking to get a Les Paul and you don't want to spend a huge amount of cash, what I would do is look for some older Japanese guitars or even some second-hand Japanese guitars and new. It doesn't really matter. Check them out. I mean, you can get stuff like the Tokai, the Chinese stuff, which is, I think it's great. But yeah, you don't need to really go spending, you know, $2 or $3 or $4 grand on a Les Paul. If you shop around, you can definitely get something like this. Man, the Japanese stuff's great. You know, and that's speaking from my experience using them for years, as well as, you know, the people that got me onto Japanese instruments. They're really something else.
Yeah, well, I've got also a Yamaha, Japanese made.
Yeah.
That's a 76 model, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, well, you heard it, haven't you, Shane?
Yeah.
That can rock too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. So I'm all for, I'm a big rap for Japanese Les Pauls particularly, but anything really. I've got Telecasters and so forth in Japanese, and they rock too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really well made.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, out of the three that you've got here, which one would you go for the most if you were, say if you either had a gig or if you went to a jam night or whatever, what would you take with you most of the time?
Well, let's say a gig, I would take the standard and I'd take the Greco as my backup.
Yeah.
Okay? That'll do it anywhere, even on stage, you know, live.
Yeah.
But my choice of guitars are these two.
Yeah, cool.
Would be every time.
Yep.
You know, they just complement each other.
Yeah, cool.
You know? If I'm... and also a couple of the tellies I've got, the Japanese tellies are just fantastic.
Oh, wow, this is heavy.
Compared to this,
it is quite a lot more.
It is compared to this, yes. But it's still not, I mean, some of the older Gibson Les Pauls were even heavier.
Yeah, I think it just feels heavy after lifting the black one, which it's got to go a bit easier on your shoulder after an hour than.
Well, do you know what the key is? A really good strap.
Yeah, cool.
It'll just hold it tight for you and not feel it. Take a lot of the weight off you.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad. Okay, I used to have a Les Paul, an Indie Les Paul, and that was so heavy, it wasn't funny.
So it looks like Gibson have used pretty much the same Tune-o-matic bridge on both of these guitars.
I'd say so.
Give or take. I don't know if I can spot a difference between them, but yeah, the hardware is definitely something that I think separates Gibson from a lot of other companies, unless you're buying a Japanese guitar as well. I noticed Epiphone and some of the Chinese Tokai hardware is not great, but you know, you sort of do get what you pay for, but at the same time, I think the Japanese stuff's the perfect balance of sound versus value and all that. When I bought even this, for example, when I got this from where I got it from, they had the left-handed Japanese one as well. He said before you even play this because the standard of them is great. I thought, oh yeah, all right. As you know, it was more than double the price to get the Japanese one.
Yeah.
I didn't even play the Japanese one in the end.
No.
This just, you know, it felt good. I knew I might have had to have made some adjustments to the hardware. So for an extra $80, this guitar's been flawless. So yeah, I just, you know, you can get good guitars for you know, the price and tone wise. I think they all sound pretty much like Les Pauls.
Yeah. Do you know I have, I know it seems funny to say this, but the way I also judge a Les Paul in terms of what I hear with my ear is I play a certain riff, and I like Zeppelin and things like that. So I tend to play a couple of their and Purple riffs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that's how I compare the two in a lot of cases. So for example, if we play. Okay, and if I change that to the American Standard, it's not a great deal of
No, I
difference.
was going to say there's not at all. Yeah.
So that's how I tend to sort of think, well, hold on, I'm on the right track here.
Yeah.
Because I can hear that it's not that, they're not poles apart,
No,
the tone itself.
No, absolutely not.
So that's how I use that as an indicator to me that, well, it's been well made, it's got the tone, it's got everything that I require,
Yeah, cool.
and that'll perform for me on stage. So that's what's important. So yeah, I'm a big rap for Japanese, Les Pauls particularly, and I've got, like I said, I've talked about the Tellys also. They make fantastic Tellys too.
Yeah. Like I was saying before, if you're thinking about getting an amplifier, see if you can find a second-hand Japanese guitar, and if you do some research on the brands as well, you'll find that a lot of the companies that were making guitars in Japan made a lot of these other brands out here. So
well, I've got a Telly, a Telly Deluxe, and that's a CIMAR.
oh, okay.
CIMAR, and it was associated with Ibanez.
Yeah,
And
well, there you go.
it rocks,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
terrific
cool.
Telly, and that goes right back to 1976 or something, that guitar. So yeah,
Cool.
great.
Thanks for bringing these in, man. I absolutely
No
appreciate
worries.
it. Yeah, so hopefully that was somewhat helpful or informative about different types of Les Pauls and where they're made and tone comparisons between them all. And if you're looking to save a couple of bucks, then I think you can pretty much do that these days if you look for the right thing. So if you want to find out any more about these guitars, Alex has demoed them on his channel at Alex Old School. I'll post all the links in the cards and also in the description. So yeah, thanks again, Alex.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jane.
Cool.